Hello, welcome to Amateur Hour, everyone. How you doing tonight, Trent?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. And no offense, I think as a Vikings fan, I think you're pretty happy right now being able to pod, not watch the
Yeah,
second half here, man.
not even watching it.
Well, I mean, honestly, if anything, we knew the Eagles were going to be legit, and with all the injuries you got going on right now, just come out less injured, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, we didn't. We were close until we decided to fumble it literally every time we touched the ball.
I I've read up on the game of football. It's not a good sign when you do that.
Not great. Not great. Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah.
So.
Four turnovers in three quarters. Usually not great.
Unfortunately, we know from this past weekend as well, one turnover can be the difference in the whole game. So
Yeah. One pick six.
between Thursday night football pick six and with the Chiefs and pick six within the CyHawk game, I'm sick of defense now, man. Except when my team does it, then I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, but we'll jump into it here, man. Pretty easy, or I guess not easy, but Texas beat Alabama this weekend. It was probably the biggest game of the weekend. Beat them
Yep.
34-24. When was the last non-conference home loss for Alabama?
Oof. It's got to be 2005, 2004.
You're close. It was 2007 when I think it was. I believe it was Saban's first year, but they lost to Louisiana Monroe 21-14.
Unacceptable.
Oh man. Well,
Would be
you
now.
know how unacceptable it was from some of the videos you heard from the sidelines. Holy hell, they were them Bama fans. They lose two games in a season, and their whole year's over, man.
Yep, they're done. But it's okay. College football playoff committee. It was an early loss, early in the
Yes.
season. Good loss. That was a good loss early in the season, so it should be fine.
They lost at the right time, Trent. They planned it,
We'll sneak them in.
but no, I mean, did you say you caught any of that one at all?
I didn't. I just saw the score. Yeah, I this past week I was up fishing in northern Minnesota,
Mm.
so didn't catch much college football outside of the CyHawk game.
What a just if you had to choose one
Yeah,
game, even they're my favorite team, and boy, what a you could have
yeah,
chose that
oh,
Texas game, anything now. What a
yeah.
terrible one. But no, I unfortunately, man, I think Texas, and not to sound cliche, I think they're back. I think
Yeah,
they've got some top talent, and they're not squandering top talent. Now we're a whole 2 games into the season, but I mean, Sark actually looks competent. I mean, he went in there. He's done what someone has done in what's that, 16 years now. I mean,
yeah,
good for them. Honestly, when we take them down and at the end of the season, it'll feel that much better, right?
yeah. Sam Ellinger, he called it like 7 years ago. They're back, I guess. um,
Sam Ellinger, first one to say it. He called
yeah,
dibs on it.
yeah, yeah. No, Texas looks really good right now, so they can be a Big 12 team for now.
Yeah, they're looking good. Oklahoma, they had their own little controversy. That one, I think was warranted, but I mean they're looking pretty good. I mean, unfortunately, the biggest thing they got to worry about is Levy, their offensive coordinator, brought Art Briles, who is his father-in-law, onto the field on Saturday, and Oklahoma, and everyone's going, well, what's the big deal? Well, we all remember what Art Briles did at Baylor and what he covered up. I don't think any school would ever want that associated with them, and seeing fans' reactions, he was very callous
Yeah,
on the field or in the interviews when they were talking about it. It's like, man, like you're trying to say, well, he's family. It's like, yeah, but if other family members of other team members did that, they probably don't want him on the field either. So I don't know. The Big 12 is looking a little better. I mean, hell, Baylor, they made it a game at least with Utah.
yep.
At the end there, Texas Tech, they squandered that one, man. They had Oregon,
Yeah,
bu- by the
I s-
whats, and they
yeah,
let him go.
yep. I saw just a little bit of that one.
No, so I mean, I don't know if there's any real big overreaction other than, I mean, should we just get the Dion talk out of the way?
Fine.
You're not going to believe this, but they in Colorado won. Good, nice job. They have doubled their win total from last year, but the problem was Nebraska made it personal with Dion.
Oh, everything's personal with Dion. Ooh.
Matt Rule actually woke up on the wrong side of the bed on last Saturday. That was personal to Dion. He did not want him on that side of the bed.
Yep.
But Brad just said Texas won him some money this weekend. And say I didn't put any money on that game. I was too. I don't know. I honestly, before the game, I probably would have picked Alabama to win. Until I saw that moment, I had to see Texas finally overcome it, because I believe that was the first top three win they've had since 2009. I mean, wow. Iowa State's had multiple of those since then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just don't. It feels good knowing that they're back. And honestly, this is what the SEC wanted, man. This is
for sure.
This is a team that they fully expected, and everyone's going, when the fuck have we haven't seen that since 2009, or maybe with Colt McCoy, you know?
Yeah, for sure. That's why a couple weeks ago on the pod, I think a question got brought up of who we think will do better in the SEC, and I said Texas. I honestly think that.
Mm-hmm. Right now, I would say, and I think Venables has got him going the right direction. They're looking pretty good, and that Gabriel's a pretty good quarterback. But, you know, and again, this is just overreaction for week 2. We can get into conference play, and that's going to upend, because you know as well as I do, everyone's giving Texas and Oklahoma their best effort
for sure
the rest of the year.
Yep.
But, well, I would say, do you want to get into CyHawk, or did you want to talk? We went over, like, Tez Walker a little bit for North Carolina pre-pod.
With the ineligibility stuff, you know, he's out for the rest of the year now. We were kind of looking this up. There really wasn't a great explanation as to why, other than his transferring. But then you get JT Daniels, who can just transfer every year and never have to sit out, is never ineligible. I don't get it. Why the NCAA is so inconsistent on this kind of stuff. And, you know, before we logged on here, we were talking about this. It seems like they pick on the little guy, you know, JT Daniels. He was at Georgia, and, you know, it's Georgia, whatever. You know, UNC, they're still up there, but it's football. So it's not like the Bamas, the Georgias, the Texases, you know.
It's not UNC basketball.
For sure. Oh, yeah. If it were UNC basketball, he would be eligible immediately. Mm-hmm. And you know, the example I brought up when we were talking earlier was Lucas Steiger for Iowa State. This was like in 2009, 2010, when he came over from Europe to play for Iowa State. He was ineligible for a whole year because he played on a team in Europe that some guys were accepting money because they were professionals. Some guys weren't because they were not. Luka was not accepting money. But the NCAA, you know, hey, somebody on your team accepted money, sit out of here. And I just feel like that's just what this is. It's they pick and choose who they want to punish and who they don't at the time. It's kind of weird.
Well, and speaking of that, man, you need to start feeling bad, because they were getting punished because they were starting to get threats.
I heard that. Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. First off, if you're sending death threats over that, holy shit, you're a fucking loser. You don't have a life. But also, it's like, what did you expect when you were bending the rules over for every little thing? I think everyone wants to kind of forget that we had a global pandemic that is causing a bunch of these backlogged players still playing. Yep. But like, dude, like, this was the easiest. Hey, I want to transfer and finish my college career. You know, and all of a sudden, it's just no, we can't do it, because he played one game at Kent State, and then everything went to shit. You know, it just. It makes no damn sense. That could have been the easiest win for him, and the way they just it's also the manner they do that. That should have been. They said that they had ruled him ineligible, but they didn't announce it, and they drug their feet for these appeals until after the first game. Like, it looks so sloppy, and they wonder why we're starting to see these privatized changes of, you know, going to. Why do you think ESPN and Fox have so much control over it? because the NCAA doesn't. They are
Mhm.
just. I mean, honestly, if you could put a face on incompetence, it's the NCAA.
Yeah, I feel like the NCAA is just losing and losing and losing power. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna have no authority over any of this stuff in a few years, just because of all these TV deals and the realignments and being able to for these players to accept money. Um, I feel like the NCAA is kind of losing it.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's giving credence to these ideas that you're hearing about. Oh, all of a sudden now they're going to break away in the Ohio States and Georgias and Bama's and Texas, the big moneymaker programs. Even not even all the SEC, but it's gonna be like basically NFL minor league, and
Yeah,
they're like gonna break away, and it's like that wouldn't be happening if you had competent leadership that was making correct decisions and was consistent, and anything else a good business would do, and they're just not, man.
yeah, for sure. Yep.
So I don't know that. I don't know if we want to talk about Mel Tucker. I mean, what a fucking idiot, man. I don't. I'm not going to speculate on everything, but it's like of all people that could or could not have, why'd you choose a sexual assault awareness counselor? You
Yeah.
could have chosen any woman else in the world with a $94 million contract, and that's the one you go after. The one that you can lose it all in a weekend. Just insane. So, well, I think we've been putting it off long enough, and we already got some people in the chat that are wanting to ask about it. CyHawk, Iowa cheated. No, Iowa played a perfect game. They won 20-13. Iowa covered -3, and you're going to be shocked with the under of 36 hit.
Absolutely shocked. Nobody should be shocked, actually. This is two defensive teams and two offenses who just can't find it. In Iowa, I mean, their offense only scored 13 points. They had that pick six.
Yep.
Just I don't know, a deflating game, I think.
And that one is such a just punch to the gut every single time.
It is.
Because no offense, this is not Iowa's offense. I think was disappointing, and you can ask any of their fans. Their offense is still disappointing, even getting these big transfers. I mean, a lot of them were besides Colorado. Colorado killed the transfer game, but Iowa was up there and getting some of these top transfers for having just enough of an offense with that what was supposed to be great defense. And I felt on the first drive and towards the end when they started playing prevent, we were actually driving very well, and it wasn't the Iowa defense of the past. But outside the first drive, and then besides the last two drives, that middle is where they just kill you every single time, and it's just a boring slug out fight every single time.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is the Iowa State homer in me or not,
Mm-hmm.
but Iowa State got that ball first, and they
Mm-hmm.
marched down the field like you could tell. They had swagger. They were feeling it. They just got down there. They kind of stalled out, kicked that field goal, gets blocked. Obviously, doesn't go through the uprights. We come away with no points. That sucked the life out of everything. It sucked the life out of the fans, the stadium. The energy was gone. I feel like the team. I mean, I feel like if you come away with points there,
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State's feeling good. You've got a lead. And I think the middle 90% of that game doesn't go like that. I feel like Iowa State would continue to move the ball and who knows, maybe win that game. But that one split second where that kick gets blocked that was it.
You know what? It legit felt like, and everyone in the stadium felt it was, here we go again. Every single time it happens, man. Just
yep, for sure.
And honestly, I don't know. It's we were week one. We got special teams. We're amazing, and we saw some of the blunders that we had. And I mean, this sounds bad. I would rather it been blocked than to have a kicker last year that was missing consistently. This one was like, this isn't on the kicker, and he did what he needed to. I was at the game. yeah, the crowd was deflated. You were hearing a bunch of first downs, and we're all doing the cycling first down. We're all excited, and it was we were sitting right next to the student section, and they're still drunk and screaming, but it was very, very deflating.
Yeah, that just sucked the energy out of everything. Yeah, and I don't know, give it to Iowa. Their defense stepped up. They, got that huge pick six. That was a difference in the game right there.
Mhm.
And Brian Ferentz, he deserves to give his defensive coordinator a big, gigantic hug. Are we losing you, Bryant? We might be losing Bryant. Anyway, but yeah, after that was blocked, it was a here we go again thing, and then you knew that this game was just going to be this slugfest, just like it always has been. I don't know if I would rather be like this every year. This is the way it is every year. At least we're not getting blown out again like we used to. So Iowa State is hanging in these games with a defensive team like Iowa. So I think our defense is still pretty good after that, only giving up 13 offensive points. So
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I'd say it looks like I might have knocked my microphone out, which is fine. I got a face for radio, so we'll make it work. But a couple things that I noted with being at the game, all these commercials, and we've heard about it. If people are doing timers, and at home it's even boring when you're watching on TV on a phone. One, if you've been in Jack Trice, at least we actually had phone reception. I was able to get a hold of people, getting my grievances out, during the middle part of that game. Holy hell, there is so much just wrong with how many commercials that are going on. And I felt like Kirk, I can't remember if I believe it was the third or fourth quarter, we were actually getting somewhat of a drive going, and he called the timeout at the perfect time. And, typically, okay, here's your TV 30-second timeout. And even when you're listening on the radio, quick 30 seconds, and it's almost like they're cutting back and they're already at the play. Every single timeout took at least 5 minutes, and that's going to be, if you're on defense and you're gassed, that's going to be huge. But when you got an offense and you're getting momentum going and you get a 5-minute timeout, all of a sudden it's just like, holy hell, everything is a screeching halt. And every timeout, I felt like you're sitting here, it's like, okay, we're about to be back, and you look at on the field, they have these timers, giant timers, so the press boxes can see, and every time it was like another 90 seconds until we were back, and you were just, it's really killing the game right now.
Yeah, it really is. That is a huge, momentum killer. I did see a thing that said they timed it, and there's just as many minutes of commercial than there is of actual football being played on the TV, which that's unacceptable. We got this whole running clock thing, makes the game go faster. I don't think they're any faster. There's less football, but the TV slot is no less anymore because the commercials are longer.
If I can say one, if there's ever any good thing about it, I'm really feeling confident in betting these unders, man, because I had the under in the Kansas-Illinois game, and I got that by about half a point. And there's quite a few games where you start getting momentum. It's a slow turn in the first half. Second half, you start going, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, and the game's over because we've had basically a running clock the whole damn time. Mm-hmm. So, if you, especially up on this upcoming weekend, I already bet the Iowa under when it was at 44 versus Western Michigan. And every other school's put up 50 versus Western Michigan. Syracuse put up 58 versus them. First off, Iowa's offense isn't going to do that this weekend, but because of this damn running clock and running Ferentz ball, it's not going to hit 43. And if it does, whatever. But I don't think anyone is betting that side of the. You just have to be a lot more cautious of the overs now.
Yep.
So, watching that game, what were the positives you thought about Iowa or Iowa State?
I thought our running backs were really good again. I don't think they ran the ball with a, a huge number in yards per carry, but I don't think our
Yeah.
offensive line. So you asked me what was good. I don't think our offensive line was great again.
Yeah.
So that kind of worries me. But when they did do okay, the running backs were good. I still think Cartavius Norton is really good, and Abu Sama, I think he's going to be a stud.
Mhm.
Um,
I'm looking at it right now. Norton and Sama, as we're talking about, thinking they're good. They're only averaging about 3 yards a carry, but
yeah.
man, that I mean that Iowa defense, that those linemen, there's not like a this is the NFL player, but they were getting off those blocks fast, and I think that might be a little bit of a younger line as well. But that's what they should be doing then.
Mhm.
They were breaking these blocks, and they were doing what they needed to, and when we had creative play calls that wasn't shallow crosses and shallow outs, we were doing fine. But
Mhm.
I think it's starting to feel a little bit like Campbell is doing what Ferentz has done with his offensive coordinators, and we're starting to see the same game plan come through. And we have this young stud offensive coordinator supposedly, and we're doing the same play calls. It's not bubble screens like Rhodes, but we're playing this conservative game calls. And at the end, it did work when I was playing prevent and letting everything in front of them. But it just feels like we're getting very conservative with what we can do, and I think some of that is getting the confidence in Rocco Beck, because I think as much as the score doesn't show it, he had a lot of drops. Or I'm sorry, his wide receivers had a lot of drops. I
Mhm.
believe the adjusted catch percentage was about 70% if his guys had caught it. Um, I'm still feeling pretty good, man. After these
Yep.
first 2 games, I don't think my opinion changes at all. If anything, I'm feeling a little bit better because we got the rough Iowa game out of the way, and I think that's going to be one of the better defenses we're going to play all year.
Yep.
We played UNI that does play tough. They didn't have the athletes, so we at least got the win of the confidence. I think going into Ohio, as much as everyone is kind of hyping them up, I'm feeling really good about us going in there, kicking the shit out of them on the road, and getting into a good headspace going to the Big 12.
Yep. Yeah, I believe the receivers had 8 drops, if I remember right. Yeah.
Are you talking the Cyclones or the Chiefs? I've seen too many drop passes this first week
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. No, you'd think that number was between both, but it's not. It's just Iowa State.
Yeah. So I don't know, and that's where it's like, and I listen to the Cyclone Fanatics as well. Those guys got to make plays. We're not going to be able to do anything if you're
Yep.
dropping 8 passes in a game. And again, is that going to make a difference versus Iowa? Maybe a little bit. If anything, we can play the field position game, because that was another thing, man. As much as I was worried about their offense, because we can talk shit all we want. Cade McNamara, was legit coming out of Michigan, coming to Iowa. Our defense held its own, man. We have
For sure.
I'm not going to say elite, very good, but you can't be an elite defense and over pursue and have a running back get that set. I believe it was 56-yard carry, and that was the difference. That was a big difference in the game.
Yep.
I can't remember. It was another third down that we were
It was a,
closing out on them,
it was a
and they had the tight
pass.
end get behind the safety.
Yeah.
You can't have that, man. And unfortunately, we're expecting perfection out of this unit that is very good, and very good wasn't enough to beat Iowa, who literally went perfect on penalties. Was at the pick six, and their defense did just enough.
Yeah. And, we talked about everything that was just so deflating. And those are when it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, you're looking for a huge stop. And then they gash you for 65 yards. Like,
Yeah.
just
Oh, that was
terrible.
that was another people getting mad online. Everyone's like, look how fast this Iowa running back was when he broke through and he ran, I think it was like 20 and a half miles an hour. Very fast. And everyone's like, what about the DB that was behind him and caught up? And
Yeah.
I think it was TJ Tampa running 22 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So and Jeremiah Cooper, man, dude, everyone was TJ Tampa, TJ
Yeah.
Tampa. Cooper is the best DB in the state of Iowa with name Cooper. I don't know any
Yeah.
others that can
I don't
compete.
either. Yeah. 3 picks. And the Iowa receiver that said that there's plenty of opportunity, that he had just as many receptions as Cooper. So,
Yeah.
which
I,
we
I wasn't
can
sure.
We can
But
talk about that and laugh and joke at that all we want, but our team still lost. So
yeah, yeah. See that's what
I-
we have to. We got to feel good about something, man.
yeah.
I did get a kick out of that. About it. He had one catch for 14 yards, and I kind of got a kick out of their wide receiver Rico, the one that was calling the call bullshit on
Oh
the
yeah.
interception there. So I don't know. Don't worry though. I read he got reprimanded,
Ooh.
and I know what you're asking is, so what's a reprimand? Well, it's a reprimand. It's just a
Yeah.
circular definition of nothing from the Big Ten. And he was right. Like, what the fuck is the Big Ten gonna do? You can't fine me. Are you gonna
Yeah.
make me sit? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I really wonder if it's more like a, you know, like you get like the code of conduct, morals. I'm sure there's something in there that they can kind of mash this into, but that might have opened the window for a lot of people that are going to say, you know what? Actually, it was a horseshit fucking call. All
Yeah.
this,
Well, yeah. The coaches don't do that because they can be fined.
yeah, exactly.
Players, yeah. What are you gonna do to me?
Well, Brian Ferentz says it all in the office when he doesn't answer the press afterwards. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
speaking of which, do you see what the points per game meter's at?
So it ain't great. They've
Yeah,
scored what 44?
yeah,
So
they're at 44 total points, averaging 22 points a game. And I also the third tracker I put on here is they're averaging or they have 6 points from defense and special teams. So not great right now, man.
so take so would that be 19 points per game from the offense then?
Yeah, I guess
Oof.
technically he had 19 points. I don't know, man. I just it almost feels like in that game also to give up Iowa credit as much as it hurts me. They had drop passes that were behind us and could have gone for touchdowns, and they
Oh,
just
for sure.
but if you're Iowa though, you do not have the margin of error like some of these other teams that are higher profile, have faster offenses. You've got to start converting those. Otherwise, as good as your
Yep.
defense is, same thing with Iowa State. If you don't convert the easy ones, you're going to lose these very, very winnable games.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like there was a couple that's like, oh man, that could have been a touchdown.
Um, for Iowa's defense, uh, I'm sorry, for our defense, our defense held Iowa to 9 first downs in the game. That is the fewest we have allowed in a loss since 1991, and it's happened only 3 times in 40 years where we've allowed less than 10 first downs in loss. 2 of them are Iowa. Just like I'm saying, this is just the ugly game that it is every single
Yeah.
freaking year, and it's just exhausting on our end. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
exhilarating on the winning side, but it's not on our side.
Yeah. And that's just the thing. Like we get into this game and we change. Iowa State just changes their, I don't want to say they change their game plan or their philosophy, but it's just like you can't out Iowa. They're so good at it. They're going to beat you. And I say that people, hear me say that and they think I'm making fun of Iowa or saying it's like it's a bad thing because it's not. They know how to do this and win.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot out Iowa because they will beat you every time.
You can out conservative Kirk. That's all I've
No,
learned.
yeah,
So, and 200th win by Kirk. Nice job.
had to get it versus
He,
Iowa
a
State.
few, a few from his days at Maine. A lot of them from the Iowa Hawkeyes. So nice job
Yeah.
on him. He hit that mile marker. Maybe him and Ferentz at the end of the year are just gonna split.
Oof.
Keep Brian. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, he can be their next head coach.
Actually, sadly, I don't even know if I want Kirk out of there, man. They might actually bring someone in that wants to do something about this offense and change up everything and bring in more athletes. I don't want to see that.
No, yeah, we don't
I
need
want
that. Don't need that. David, he sent me his notes on the Iowa State. He said Iowa's still under 25 points, played decent, but definitely sloppy in areas still. So, he was on the winning side of this. So,
yeah, I mean, there would be not much more. Everyone knows it was an ugly win.
Yep.
And all they care about is the CyHawks back in Iowa City. So.
And they get a little tally under the W column. So,
By the way, I saw a lot of discourse on Twitter afterwards, and I was very frustrated after, like, all Saturday. It just brought me down. Sunday, back to normal. But
Yeah.
on Saturday, I read so many stupid tweets and Facebook posts and comments, and everyone, we need to look at someone else other than Matt Campbell. He's just not a great coach, and it's just all coach speak. It's like, will you shut the hell up?
Yeah. Who are
This
you gonna
guy
go
has
get?
exactly. Oh yeah, we're just gonna, let's just buy out Brian Kelly and bring him up to Iowa State. I think
Yeah.
that's like the play. You know what? Saban's probably done with Alabama's super high standards. Let's just come here and win a title or two.
Yeah.
There are people that are just so like again. He thankfully he didn't leave
The
when it was hot.
Lions.
Yeah, and he
When the
could have.
Lions are after him. Yeah.
But I think it has cooled off for him. But to act like we're better than losing to, if we lose to Iowa every year and then we're going bowling and we can get that decent in conference schedule, I could give a shit less whether we lose to Iowa every year. I
This
would
is
be.
it. Everyone's like, he can't beat Iowa. He can't beat Iowa. It's like there's Iowa's still pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like we're losing. Oh, they can't beat directional Michigan school. We can't beat those guys. No, it's Iowa. Come on.
We're acting like they haven't averaged like 8 to 9 wins the last decade.
Yeah, or 3.
It's not like we're 2, 3-9 teams and we can't beat the other 3-9 team. We're playing a perennial, consistent bowl eligible team.
Yep.
They have and they have the inside track on a lot of the in-state talent too. I know they just signed a 4-star like 6'8" tackle, out of Cedar Rapids. I mean, that's what we're up against. We're going against a coach with the longest tenure in the NCAA. They're going to have some consistency.
Yep.
Do you know what Kirk's record after this first 8 years at Iowa versus Iowa State was?
Not great.
2-6.
Yep.
Now Matt is 1-7, so congrats Hawks. You got one win on us there, but it's the same. If you want to have consistency, you're gonna have to keep powering through it. And if CyHawk loss is what makes you think we need to get rid of Matt Campbell, honestly, simply you're an idiot. He's the best coach we've had in history.
I was just gonna say the same thing. He's the best coach Iowa State has ever had, and you want to get rid of him.
Yeah, and you remember, in history, there's going to be different moments. McCarney brought us into the modern era. Rhodes had his couple good years. There are different periods of that. Don't act like he's not the best just overall coach here that we've had ever, except when, Pop Warner coached for us in 1908. So I guess number 2, I guess. No.
Yeah. I mean, the dude won a New Year's Six bowl. Come on.
Yeah. My favorite is everyone that tries to discount that. Well, it's COVID year. It's like, so did not everyone else deal with COVID? We were the only one that didn't have COVID in 80s.
Yeah. Iowa State didn't have COVID, so they were full strength. Everybody else wasn't.
Mm-hmm. And in case, we need to add more to it, because now we're being just sourpusses, but Ames and Iowa City were 2 of the top 4 at one point in the world in COVID transmissions. So don't act like it was just like we're in the middle of cornfields and no one's near us, so there's no transmission. It's a legit year, and suck it. That's all we can say. You know? But no, good on Iowa. I would say, like I said, I'm glad it's over with. Now everyone can go back to just not hating on the CyHawk and can enjoy their bowl games and stuff. But anything else from this week that you wanted to wrap up? Otherwise, I was just going to go over the 2 Iowa teams for the weekend.
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool. And say, Iowa State, they're the first game on the slate here on Saturday. They are a 3-point favorite currently at Ohio. Over under 42.5 here. Game is at 11 o'clock on ESPNU. Matt Campbell and John Heacock said this is the best offense we've faced this year, and it is going to be a challenge for us.
The whole best offense thing isn't wrong, I don't think, because Northern Iowa's wasn't great, and Iowa's definitely ain't.
And they're even saying, and I personally don't think this is meant to be a shot, but they're saying that Rourke, who was their quarterback last year that led them to 9 wins, he's saying that's best quarterback we may face all year. One of the for sure up until this point.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio, they're a bowl team every year, but they're coming out of the MAC. I mean, Iowa State goes on the road to a MAC school is still kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Iowa State wins by 2 touchdowns. I think this 3-point favorite thing is a little small. I don't know. I think Iowa State wins by a couple touchdowns here.
My homerism back. I'm insulted by how low that spread is right now. I know our
Yeah.
offense didn't look great versus a good Iowa defense, not the best that they've had, but a very good Iowa defense. We're not going to have 8 drops in the game. We're not going to be facing as tough of a defense. We're going to be fine. Like you said, this is going to be at least a 2 touchdown win.
Yep.
And I think at this point, I'm actually, as much as I hate playing at Ohio, I'm okay with our first road game of the year being at a MAC school and being easier comparable to Big 12.
I totally agree there.
So
I don't know. I think we have bigger athletes. I think, being a Power 5 school, hopefully our offensive line can move some people, kind of redeem themselves from last game, and just get a good feel for that. I don't know. Get some good mojo going into the Big 12 by moving some lesser athletes around. I don't know.
Yeah. This is kind of the get right game. We do it every single year. FCS game, closer than what it should be. Get right. Iowa typically kicks our ass. Next is the get right game for the actual Big 12 season in Big 12. So, I don't know. Like I said, I think that one's pretty straightforward. I think we're gonna win. I haven't bet the over under on that. I'd have to bet under right now, man. I think our defense is going to hold them pretty well.
Yep.
But I don't think our offense is going to score. So same thing probably with the Iowa game. I think this will kind of be a boring game, but if we're on the winning side of things, obviously, I'm okay with a boring win.
Yeah. 21-7. We called 2 touchdowns.
21-7?
It's the under. We win by 2 touchdowns, stress-free, whatever.
Yeah, can we just have a stress-free game? Not as many drops. We're not asking for much here.
Yeah. I mean, that 30-9 UNI game, if we had that same score, totally happy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't know. I think this will be a good get-right game by Rocco. Hopefully he can get enough experience and then maybe see what JJ does. I'll be honest, when you have 2 young guys and you keep switching between them, that going back to the Iowa game real quick, I'm glad they just kept Rocco in. They said they're going to go with 2 the whole game, or 2 in the game, and I thought that was going to be the dumbest thing to lose a young guy's confidence. Let's just keep switching quarterbacks and let's get the rhythm not down with our receivers too. Just pick one, rip the Band-Aid off, and just move with it.
Yeah. Like I say, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 0.
There you go. Trent Nelson, first person to ever say that.
Yep. You heard it here first, folks.
Alrighty. Western Michigan, 28.5-point underdogs at Iowa. Over under 42 points. Game is at 2:30 on Big Ten Network. I gotta know if that is the smallest difference between a spread and an overall point total. Because that is incredible that it's 13.5 points. So what do they have at 35-7? Iowa ain't putting 35 points in this game. Do you think?
No. Haven't seen it yet. Is Western Michigan's defense worse than Utah State?
I don't know, man. They
only scored 24 versus they only scored 24 versus Utah State.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and that's where this running clock and Ferentz ball comes into play. He's okay with winning by 3 touchdowns. So then he's just going to slow it down when, no offense, in reality, not even to save his job. I think they need to start doing some hurry up and get more reps with Cade out there, because this could just be a timing thing with these receivers. And if you're going to be just going conservative in these kind of the get right games, when you have to versus Northwestern, as much as they're they're a Power 5 school versus a Nebraska they didn't look the greatest versus Colorado. They looked enough. Minnesota's always going to be a tough out. Wisconsin with Luke Fickell. I mean, this is the game you need to really push the issue.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I just don't see it, man.
My thing with that, though, is the whole 25 points per game thing.
Mm-hmm.
If they score 20, so it's 7 wins and 25 points. If they have 8-9 wins, they go to a good bowl game and average 22 points a game, that contract gets ripped up. It has to.
No, exactly.
Who cares how many points per game you score if you win 10 games?
Now, if they lose a couple games specifically because of the offense, and then they have the 22, then it'll start getting some eyes. But like you said, I just got kind of same thing with Texas. I got to see a score 28 before I think you're going to cover this. I can realistically see this game being 34-3 or 7 or some. But I just went conservative. I bet the under. I think that's just going to be the safer of the two. This will be the game if they do it. The rest of the year, they ain't going to win by 28 points. So I think they're going to force the issue here. I just don't see Western Michigan doing anything. No matter, even this is not one of the better Iowa defenses we've seen in some time.
Yep, I agree there.
So I don't know. Other than that, I mean, there's not really the great matchups. This next weekend is going to be where all the huge matchups are going to be coming up here. So, I mean, this is, like I said, this is just going to be get right, I think, for everyone. And then you're going to have the Notre Dame-Ohio State game. And I believe Florida State-Clemson, there is a shit ton of good games on the slate for week 4.
Yeah, I haven't really looked real close at this coming week. What do we have here?
For just overall, like, top teams?
I'm looking at, like, top 25.
Well, I know you're worried. Deion's going to play in primetime again. Third, for a team that had one win last year, they're playing their third primetime game in three weeks here. It's honestly becoming a very funny running bit going on. Did you hear that legitly the Colorado State guy fed into him?
Yeah. Yep.
He said, grown men, they talk without hats and sunglasses on. They talk like grown-ups.
Yep.
Deion, it's going to take it personal.
There's that bulletin board material. Colorado needs to beat Colorado State.
They're like 23-point favorites. I'll be honest. Hearing all this, I get that Norvell. What's he gonna say? That they're gonna kick the shit out of us? No, he can't say that. But like when you do that, everyone knows that they're gonna have a reason to really bring it home, really run you over. It's gonna be fourth quarter. It's gonna be a 4-touchdown game, and they're gonna keep going for touchdowns. So I bet the Colorado spread, because if Deion's going to annoy me all season with taking it personal, I better start winning some money off of him, because I can't take it, man.
No one ever believed in him.
No, never in his life, man.
His son either, that 4-star recruit.
Oh, yeah, Travis Hunter, number 1 prospect in the country. No, we doubted him too.
I'm sick of hearing about it. God. Now here. Okay, I'll say something. Yeah. What did I predict them to win 3 games all year, and they've already won 2? Look, I'll eat some crow. I'm wrong. I was totally wrong on that. But dude, I will not jump off the train of it's just, let's shove it down your throat a little bit farther.
Mm-hmm.
God.
I bet you, from the outsider's perspective, Trent, when we're going 5-star culture, 5-star culture, 5-star culture, I bet you everyone's like, shut the fuck up.
It is not as annoying. We haven't had every college football media market just blasting that for the last year.
You know what this is doing? This is strengthening remember, these are Big 12 wins. Until he loses, then it's Pac-12. But it's just going to strengthen the Big 12 next year, man.
Remember when I didn't want him in the Big 12, and here we are. Dude, like I said, I'll eat crow. I was wrong. Like, he's doing a good job. Like, they're winning football games. He's apparently being a good coach. But man, it's getting very, very annoying. How many times do you think game day will be there this year?
There will be some, whether it's like Cover 3, Barstool, Fox, ESPN. I bet you they're there at least over half. So I mean, that has so this week would be the 3rd. I bet you it's at least 4 more games. Some crew will be there.
And I haven't really looked into Colorado's schedule too deep, but do they play Oregon? Do they play USC?
They
Because
play Oregon next week. That's part of the week 4 slate. That's going to be incredible.
so game day will probably be there. Is it in Eugene or is it in Boulder?
I'm getting it pulled up now. I believe it's at home because I would say they played a lot of their tough games before. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is at Oregon. 2:30 on ABC already.
So being at Oregon, that gives ESPN the best excuse to go to a Colorado game 2 weeks in a row. They will be in Oregon. I guarantee it.
Well, yeah, it's ABC during the day, so I don't know if that dictates if they're gonna, the like the primetime game, they might flex it. Colorado already versus Stanford at home. They're already on ESPN and prime. Well, I say prime time, but 9 p.m. at night. They are the only game at that point on ESPN. And then they already at Washington State game on November 17th. They're already on FS1. So they're already on cable, and they're on these big networks. Mm-hmm. That is always the frustrating thing being Iowa State. We're one of the smaller brands in the Big 12. It's always ESPN Plus, man. And here they have multiple, national audiences matchups already. So good on them, man. They suffered all last year, and they've been bad for a while. So I'm glad they're at least getting some hype.
Do they play USC?
Yes, they play at USC the following week. So game day might be there 3 weeks
in Boulder.
No, in Los Angeles.
So again, there another excuse. Oh, we're not going to Boulder, but we're getting Colorado on.
Don't you worry,
dude.
I wonder if there's like
I'm calling it now, man.
Like even like you think about it, Alabama, Georgia, they're playing these Weber states. They're playing Louisiana Monroe. Not trying to shit on some of these smaller schools, but they play these smaller schools, so they get on SEC Network. They get on the ESPN Plus. They legit might have a run of 5 straight weeks on primetime or on a cable television network that isn't streaming only.
Yeah.
Which in today's day and age, with as much content it is, I think that's kind of incredible, man.
Mm-hmm, for sure. So I was just looking at the schedule. There are no top 25 matchups this weekend.
Yeah, versus each other.
Yes, correct. Yeah, not one.
I'm telling you, week 4 is going to be huge. Well, we'll have to actually get into it and break down. Hell, maybe we'll have like a pick'em contest, see what we can pick here.
Let's
but
do it.
It's I would say week 3 will kind of be boring. We'll have our boring games at night, and then we'll have Dion as our nightcap here. So, man, I'll be honest, I really don't have much else. I just wanted to air some grievances because I was so sad after the CyHawk. That was all I had on my mind all week.
Glad we could get that off our chest. We feel better now going into this game where we're going to win by 2 touchdowns at least. Yeah. No stress heading into the Big 12. You know how that works with us all the time.
The one thing I do for this weekend, I've already got 7 bets in for college football. I don't bet anything other than like college football and college basketball. I'm fucking bad. I've been firing off since Monday night, just getting some of these early spreads.
I'm just saying the Iowa State game is going to be no stress at all. You're trying to make it stressful by betting everything.
Oh, I doubled up my units. I put $10 whole on this game, but I caught Iowa State at -2.5. I caught it before.
Oh my god! Yeah, take that any day. That's just like the road to 272 at this last year. It's like Sundays, I'm just like sitting there watching every score. Like, okay, what was my bet on this game? What was my bet on this game? Like, this is a little stressful. Now I haven't bet on any football this year, so I'm like.
If you are into betting, and I know it tells you on like Caesars, and I don't know about FanDuel, I don't really use other than just the one. I'm going to tell you, I'm a very analytical guy, and I do it on action, so I do have to kind of double enter. Mm-hmm. But man, it makes it so much easier. I will see if I can get my screen to show on here, but it's so much nicer when I just have all of the games, all the spreads, and like during a matchup, like right now, I have Philly -7 and over 48.5. It kind of gives you a quick read. You can see it's green there. Mm-hmm. You have a very good shot at winning that bet. If you're losing it, you can take a quick glance at, is everything good or is everything shit?
So in that game, or so in that app, do you just put in what you got it at or what? Because last year I downloaded that because I knew I was going to make about 300 NFL bets. Mm-hmm. And I never really used it. I didn't dig too much into it.
So yeah, I mean, I enjoy there's also, if you pay monthly subscription, they have some inside gamblers that will give you certain picks. It's gambling. There's never going to be a straight up, here's the answer, but it'll give you some indication on some of these. I don't watch Eagles or Vikings, so
Yep.
some insiders will tell you what they think, as well as you can see what everyone else gambles. Excuse me. And honestly, like on this one, I was putting in for why I think Philly's going to cover the spread, and it was like I put in my reasoning because Baker read the signals. There's no way you can fix that in a week.
Mhm.
So that was my reasoning, and throw that in there. But then also I'm looking at, hey, in the last 7 days I'm up $22 because I'm 5-1. Overall in the last 30 days 10-7 because I've really ramped up what I'm gambling here.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I'm just I like to see where it's like I don't bet UFC anymore. Why? Because over the last year I've looked at UFC, I'm down like $75 because every time I try and put in a parlay like I'm a moron and I never hit it.
Parlays never work. I don't
No.
know if I've ever hit a parlay. No,
I
I haven't bet many, but I don't think I've hit any.
I don't get the people that that love I get the thrill of of hitting it, but man, you lose so many on the one game. How you can
Mhm.
keep going back to that.
Yeah.
It's an abusive relationship when you're in love with parlays.
Yep. Instead of Road to 272, what I should have done every week was just go out to the casino
Hmm.
and put a money line parlay on every NFL game every week.
Ooh,
So
okay.
you'd have to get like what 16 games right,
Yeah.
and just took $5, and I would pay.
Oh, I wouldn't say honestly. I wouldn't even waste five. You put two on that type of spread, you'll net quite a bit.
Hmm.
But
Should
but
have.
think of the last time you've even bet 75% in the NFL. It's
I don't know.
it's not worth it, man.
Last year, and I whipped all your asses.
Well, true. I'm looking at my other bets. The only other, because I know we don't talk gambling too much on this.
No.
The other big one that I'm kind of feeling good on, Kansas State at Missouri is only a 3.5 point spread, and that might have even changed since I put the bet in yesterday. Yeah, it's already
KU's
moved
or
up to four.
K State's gonna win by more than that.
Eli Drinkowitz said he can't get up for an 11 o'clock game because it's too early. Now I don't know if that's in jest, but you don't make a joke like that and there not be a little truth to it as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, K State's my pick to win the Big 12
I mean, they better
after week one.
yeah, after they better start showing that they can compete because, like I said, Texas has always had the athletes. They're starting to show that they know how to use them now too.
Yeah, we know they'll fall off.
Texas is going to Texas. Is that your prediction?
Texas gonna Texas.
Well,
They're
well,
back.
yeah, I don't know. I agree. So, well, let's wrap it up here, man. And say unless you got anything else.
Um, I've got nothing. I'm playing a golf tournament on Saturday with Ryan and his brother, my father-in-law. So I'm gonna miss a little bit of that college football, but not much because we're teeing off early. So
You're talking college football. You ain't watching it this year. I might have to suspend you for next week.
I'm a busy man. Like I feel like last year I didn't watch much of Iowa State. Not that I was missing much, but I get
What a
busy on
year
the
you could have
weekends.
chose.
Yeah, I get busy on the weekends.
So, but no, well, I'll say we'll catch you all next week. And then yeah, appreciate everyone listening.
Thanks for hanging with